Today we're diving into a really disturbing new clue in one of the biggest health crises of our time. It's this hidden connection between what we're all eating and the health of our most precious organ, our brain.
Just listen to this quote from one of the world's leading experts. It really hits you hard, doesn't it? It just goes to show that by the time those really frightening symptoms of cognitive decline show up, the damage has been silently building up for more than a decade.
But what if we've been looking in all the wrong places? A growing mountain of research is pointing to a shocking new suspect. It's gotten so serious that scientists are now starting to call Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes. Yep, a metabolic disease of the brain.
So this begs a huge question. What is this hidden link between our food and this tragic decline in our brains? It is a medical mystery that affects millions of people. And today, we're going to follow the evidence and see if we can solve it.
Okay, so our investigation starts right at the scene of the crime, the brain itself. And what's happening there is nothing short of a massive energy crisis. So in a brain that's affected by Alzheimer's, the neurons, the very cells that hold our memories, our personality, our entire identity, they start to lose their ability to use glucose, sugar, for fuel. Just imagine your car's engine suddenly being unable to use gasoline. The result is that your brain cells are slowly starving, and that leads to inflammation, damage, and that silent 15-year decline we talked about. And here is a massive clue. Research is showing that a staggering 80% of people with Alzheimer's also have something called insulin resistance. Now that's a condition where the body's cells just stop listening to insulin signals. This is the exact same problem that defines type 2 diabetes. It's a direct, undeniable link to what's happening in the brain.
So if insulin resistance is at the scene of the crime, we have to unmask the real culprit who's pulling the strings: insulin itself.
We usually just think of insulin as the thing that manages blood sugar, but that is such a small part of the story. Insulin is the body's master energy hormone. It's basically the traffic cop for every single calorie you eat, telling your cells to either burn that energy right now or, and this is the important part, store it as fat for later.
So this slide really breaks it down. Our bodies have two fundamental states, and they're both controlled by insulin. So after a high-carb meal, pasta, bread, sugary drinks, insulin spikes. It screams, store everything. It locks the energy away in your fat cells and just slams the brakes on fat burning. But on the other hand, when we eat low-carb meals or we fast, insulin falls. It kind of whispers, okay, release the energy, and it unlocks our fat stores so we can actually use them for fuel.
The problem is, our modern diet, which is just packed with processed carbs, keeps most of us in that high insulin state constantly. And here's the real paradox. You can have hundreds of thousands of calories of energy stored as body fat, but if your insulin is always high, your brain can't get to that fuel. It's literally starving in the midst of plenty. And that is exactly why so many of us walk around with that constant, nagging brain fog. But what if there was a way to get around this glucose traffic jam? What if the body had a secret, cleaner, more efficient fuel source? Well, the good news is, it does.
Our bodies have this amazing built-in backup generator. It's pretty simple, really. When we cut back on carbohydrates, our insulin levels naturally fall. That drop in insulin signals the liver to start burning body fat at a really high rate. And as a byproduct of all that fat burning, the liver creates these incredible little molecules called ketones. And let me tell you, ketones are an absolute superfuel for the brain. They provide clean, efficient energy. They lower the exact inflammation that drives dementia. They protect our neurons. And, most critically, they can completely bypass the brain's broken glucose machinery in Alzheimer's patients. They're like a metabolic rescue flare for a starving brain.
And the impact here, it can be absolutely life-changing. One doctor shared this incredible story of a 40-year-old patient who had both Down syndrome and Alzheimer's. Her brain was in a state of severe decline. But after just 3 weeks on a diet that allowed her body to make ketones, she spoke her first ever 3-syllable word. And that word was, I understand. Her brain, finally getting the fuel it so desperately needed, was starting to come back online.
Now, to really solve this case, we have to deal with the biggest red herring in the entire world of nutrition, this idea that it's all just about calories. As the metabolic scientist Dr. Benjamin Bickman puts it, calories are definitely part of the picture, but they are not the main character. The hormonal response to food, specifically that insulin response, is way, way more important.
Okay, let's just look at this comparison right here. So 500 calories from cereal and juice, that's going to spike your insulin through the roof, it'll slow down your metabolism, and it'll leave you hungry and storing fat just a couple of hours later. Now, compare that to 500 calories from eggs and avocado. That barely moves your insulin, it can actually increase your metabolic rate, and it keeps you full while encouraging your body to burn fat. See? It's not the number of calories that matters most, it's how your hormones react to them.
So what does this all mean for us, for you and me? Well, it means we can actually take control. The evidence points to a really clear 4-step protocol for lowering our insulin and completely resetting our metabolism.
These are the 4 pillars. Okay, first, control your carbohydrates. Just swap the stuff in bags and boxes for real, whole foods. Second, prioritize protein. It's essential for your body and has a minimal effect on insulin. Third, and this is a big one, don't fear healthy fats. They give you energy and keep you full. And finally, consider fasting. Seriously, even just skipping a meal here and there gives your body a much-needed break from having to pump out insulin all the time.
Ultimately, it really all comes down to this. Your body is a hybrid engine. It has 2 fuel tanks. One runs on sugar, which, as we've seen, can lead to that insulin-driven energy crisis in the brain. The other one runs on fat, producing those clean, efficient ketones. And the evidence strongly suggests that our long-term brain health might depend entirely on which fuel tank we choose to run on most of the time.